Hey, welcome to the conversation that's as diverse as the dogs that we adore. This is Gun Dogs and Guard Dogs, ultimate podcast dedicated to talking sense about dogs with Les Graham and Ross McCarthy. They work with all breeds of dog, but one specialises in gun dogs and the other prefers guard dogs. No flashy trends or social media hype here, just tried and true knowledge that stands the test of time. They bring you valuable insights and honest conversations about the social predator you share your home with. So here we go. About 45 minutes of gun dogs, guard dogs, good dogs, some maybe not so good dogs, and a dash of gossip.
Oh dear.
Are you going to start or not?
Yeah, I'm starting. Yes, I am starting. How's things going?
You've just been taking the mickey out of me. There used to be, what was the programme that used to go? Morning, Martin. What was
It
that?
was Catherine Tate, wasn't it?
I think so. I didn't watch it, but you used to say, because it was, she used to sing or something, wasn't it? And it'd be Morning, Martin.
Yeah, when she's going, morning, Morton.
Morning, Martin.
And then there was that bloke, wasn't there? There was that hotel that we booked.
A
And you were like,
TB.
morning, Morton.
Morning. Yeah, I used to go and go, Morning, Martin. You used to take the mickey out. So we were laughing because I just said to Ross before we started, Are you starting, Ross? He went, Morning, Martin.
Morton, Morton.
Childish
Yeah.
humour. I think it's because we know we're going to be talking about saying goodbye to pets, so it's a little bit, isn't
Yeah.
it?
It's that, what do you call it? That nervous laughing, isn't it?
That's me all over. I get that. If somebody I love hurts himself, then I get nervous laughter.
Horrible.
It's
I
awful.
do.
I can't control it.
No, well, I get a bit like that at funerals, which is hideous. Obvious,
But you giggle.
Yeah, start laughing.
Yeah.
Horrible.
It's
But
fear. It's fear driven.
It is. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, luckily, you can sort of get away with sort of putting your hand over your face. People think you're crying, do you know what I mean? But it's awful.
Kenny took a fall. He took a fall the other time. I started laughing again. It was awful. It was my fault. It was my fault as well. And it's that panic.
It is a bit
It's that panic, isn't it? Not being able to control the speed and the intensity of the emotion.
Yeah. No, it is. I sometimes get a bit like it when we start a workshop, like just before you start, I get all a little bit overexcited. Do you know what I mean? I think that's nerves.
Overexcited.
Overexcited and ridiculous. Yeah. And I think you've got, don't, chill out. Don't be ridiculous.
I think it is. I think it's just not being able to cap the intensity of the emotion. I've always been like that. Always. Like when I worked in IT, I can remember I was a trainee. We'd come to the end of the training program, and I was working for BT at the time, and I can't remember the guy's name, but like the chairman of BT came in and spoke to us. We were the first set of trainees through this program, and he came into the room, and I started giggling because you could feel like the power coming off this man. Do you know what I mean?
You started laughing.
Like exuding power, and I started like that nervous laughter. I had to leave the room. I was like, oh my God, this is...
Well, that's awful, because then people think, why are you laughing at me? What are you laughing at? And it's horrible. It's horrible.
It's awful. It's that not being able to cope with the emotion, isn't it?
The trouble is with laughter, once you start and it's inappropriate, it's very difficult to, I mean, if when you're laughing in an inappropriate situation,
yeah,
it's very difficult to regain control of yourself, isn't it?
Yeah. Very difficult.
Anyway, not much laughter for the next few minutes, have we?
Or maybe there will be, because if our emotions run high.
There might be. We're talking, I got an email the other day from one of our students who had lost his cat. Him and his girlfriend lost their cat. And said to me, you obviously owned lots of dogs in your life and have had to lose them and whatever. How do you cope with that? And will we ever feel any differently to how we do now? And it's really hard, isn't it?
What did you say?
I said, yes, you will feel differently, you know, when it's tomorrow or next week or next year, then things do change. Not sure how long this podcast's going to last, but yeah, you do feel differently, don't you?
You do. It's horrible. It's horrible. You. There's always a part of you that's missing, I think. Always.
I think it's like anything, isn't it? You get like initially, it's just horrific, like gutting, horrible.
Yeah.
I don't even can't even describe the feeling. It's just hideous. But then you can look at pictures and you can, I mean, we do, as you know, we have lots of films that we play on workshops with our dogs in. And of
Uh,
course, initially, you don't want to play those, you don't want to look at that. But I find it actually is quite a helpful thing. So, because you do it, because it's almost not that they're still with you, but it's still, you know, those memories and
yeah.
seeing them, it's easier after a while. I mean, initially it's horrible
Uh,
because you haven't got them. But yeah, it does. It gets easier, and it's actually I quite like it
I
seeing the
think
dogs.
I think when you don't see it coming, like I can remember the first time after we lost Angus, and we did it, and I forgot the film was coming up, and it really threw me when I
It
saw it.
takes your breath away, doesn't it, at
It
times?
took my breath away to see him, and but no, I love seeing him on film. I love seeing it.
Yeah.
It's lovely. I think when you first, I think when you first, nothing will prepare you for losing your animal. I don't think anything will prepare you, but I think it's harder when it's unexpected, when it's quick. I think that takes your legs away from you.
Well, I
I
think, I
think
mean,
when you know it's going to happen, like, can you remember with Bart? I can remember phoning you when we lost Bart in Kenny was up in London. I can remember phoning you and I just said, Ross, I don't know what to do with myself. The vet's
mm,
coming out and now I had to put them to sleep and I just don't know what to do with myself. And it was
what you
that
gonna do?
pacing and pacing, waiting, knowing what was going to happen.
It's horrible. I find I'd find that the anticipation, the waiting, the phone call, you know, arranging, you know, all of that stuff is worse than when it's done and
And it's
over
done.
because it's done, and then you have to, you know, pull
Get
yourself
on,
together for want of a
get on
better
with it.
phrase and get
Yeah.
on with it. And however hard it is, um, but I find that's easier than the lead up
Yeah.
because you know it's going to happen. The thing that I find really the most horrendous is when you know it's on the cards and you're waking up in the morning and you come downstairs and is it today? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the hard bit.
I think I think it depends on the age of the dog as well. So when it's really old, I've not had a really old dog. I've never had. Dante's the eldest dog that we've had. Spud was 10 when I lost him, almost 10.
Mm,
And he was fighting fit. So there was none of this. Is today going to be the day?
no,
Is today going to be the day that he's incapacitated and I can't live with him anymore? With Ziggy, when he was out of a fit, he was fighting fit.
yes,
Do you know what I mean? So after he had two really horrific fits close together and we decided to let him go, I took him on the field and I took some pheasant dummies and I spent 10 minutes just having an absolute blast with them.
mm.
And then we took them to the vets. And um and I Kenny videoed it as well. So I've always got that.
Oh, did he see? I don't know if I'd
Oh,
like.
Ross is beautiful. Because Ziggy was fighting fit. He was fit and he was retrieving and we were having a laugh and his tail was wagging. And we just did what Ziggy loved doing. And then I said goodbye to
Yeah,
him. And so I think, and his passing was really calm. He just let go.
yeah,
Afterwards, I missed him terribly because he was my soul dog. He was
yeah,
just, he lay at my feet all the time. And I think that bit's the hard bit. But I think when you got a sick dog, like Bart was sick and I had to decide to do something with them, it's that is that the look? Has he just given me the look? Has he had enough? Is he not? And I think that's the hard bit, isn't it?
It's really
The
difficult. I mean,
decision.
I had Roke, he was the last dog I had put to sleep. And unfortunately, as things often do, it came on very, very quickly. I was away on a workshop and I
Uh-huh.
looked at him, he was 11 and a half, whatever. And I looked at he was fine. And then that weekend I was away, I looked at him, I thought, he's old. He was old. And he wasn't up until that point. I thought he's old. And in
Yeah.
kind of a week, he had deteriorated. And I went to the vet, took him to the vet, got some meds and whatever, came back home, and then decided the following day, no, no, this is it now. I can't do this to myself, and I can't do it to him. He couldn't, I'd come down in the morning, I couldn't get him up,
Mhm.
stiff and whatever, and trying to get him out. And there's a big dog, and I've got to try and physically get him in the car to
Mhm.
go to the vet.
Mhm.
So I went to the vet, and she said, oh, we can give him some more pain relief and stuff like that. And I was just like, no, I'm not. You're not the one that has to live with this dog. You're not the one that has to keep staring at him and looking at him and trying to lift him in the car. And
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to be able to get him to the park or back from the park to go to the toilet. And no, and it's not fair on him either. I'm not doing it. Well, not when I don't have to. We've got a choice, haven't we?
I think making the decision's really difficult. I mean, Dante's still fighting fit and bouncy, but I'm looking at him and going, Craig, this year's taking its toll on you. And he's now hesitating, jumping into the car.
Hmm.
He's
Yeah,
kind of crouching and going,
yeah.
can I get in? Can I not? Can I get in? And I'm watching him now like a hawk. It's
Hmm.
happened 4 times now, him getting into the car.
Yeah,
And it's like, do I need to get my ramp out? I can't lift him. He's too heavy for me to lift.
yeah. No, no, no. It's hard. Mind you, you saying that my when I lost Zach, I he was about 16. And I'd been, because he was my dog, I had him when I was, I think, 18, and he lived right through into my early 30s. So I'd had like all my life changes and different
Wow.
partners and different houses and different jobs and all of that stuff. He was kind of the one sort of constant thing I'd had. And I was waiting like literally from when he was 8. I was like, God, that's like 8 years of like worry and concern, and is he going to be awake in the morning? And yeah, I went
I
on for.
think I think the more dogs, would you say the more dogs you have, the more accepting you are of it, or not?
Um, I don't know really. More accepting of it, I suppose
More
so.
prepared?
Yeah, you know what it involves. It's not easier, that's for sure.
No.
Um, but yeah, more prepared, and I think it's doing that final last kindness, isn't it, to the dog? Because we don't have to allow them to suffer. We don't have to keep
Yeah.
them in discomfort or pain or whatever else. We don't have to do that. And you see lots of people, I think, possibly keep their dogs longer than they should
Mhm.
because A, they don't see it themselves, they don't realize.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what I mean? And
Uh-huh.
I think, I've been guilty of that as well because you just don't, you can only do it at the time that you think yourself that that's the right time.
Mhm.
And, with my little Bill the Pomeranian, probably kept her going too long. But, she was eating and she'd walk and do you know what I mean? It's, you
Mhm.
know, and you just have to do what's right by you, don't you, at the time you feel
Yeah.
that's.
I don't. I think. I don't think this. I don't think there's the right time, but I do think there's a wrong time. And
What
I
do you
think the
mean?
wrong time is leaving it too long for your
No, I
dog
think
because
so.
sometimes it's because we can't face living without them. And so we think, oh, tomorrow and then the dog will get a second wind, which normally happens
Yeah.
towards death. You normally get that second wind. And
Well,
then we
it's
keep them going, keep them going.
it's so hard. I mean, I remember with Zach, but made an appointment for the vet to come to the house to put him to sleep.
Mhm.
And he seemed, like you said, he perks up, he seemed fine. So I cancelled the vet and I thought, oh, good,
Uh,
cancelled the vet. And then that night he was in pain. He had to like CDRM, so his back legs used to sort of cross and get stuck, and we used to have to sort of
uh,
rub them and manipulate him. Um, and that night he was obviously in pain, so I was up for most of the night with him, and then obviously had the vet come around the next day. But I should have done it the day before, but I was doing what I thought was right. Do you know what I mean?
mhm.
For the dog. So it was a day too late, but
But it happens, we can only do what we can do with what
yeah.
we've got in front of us.
Yeah, and it is. So unfortunately, it's all well, not unfortunately, it's all just a very personal opinion, isn't it? It's all very,
Mhm.
your own emotions and yeah, doing what you think. It's a hard decision. It's a
It's
hard decision.
it's a really hard decision.
It is a
Yeah,
hard
it
decision, and
is.
I think sometimes well, I guess sometimes it's easier than others because when you really know that this is not fair, you know what I mean? This is not.
No, I think if you know that your dog has reached the end of its life and you're holding on to it for your benefit,
Yeah,
that's what I mean by like that's the wrong
yeah,
decision.
yeah,
Everything else is if you're doing it for the right reason for your dog, then it's the right reason for your dog, isn't
yeah,
it? But
yeah. No, not to hang on to the dog for your
for
sake.
yourself. And I think I think when you've been through it and you know what's going to happen, it's not scary.
No,
And it's like when you know it's easier.
I think that most of the time it's not as hard as it is in that moment when you're there with the dog, because I always stay with my dogs because I think that's what you should do. Um, but actually it's quite peaceful for the dog, depending on, unless they're, freaking out and hate the vet and all the rest of it, and
Uh,
that would be traumatic, wouldn't it? But, typically it's quite a peaceful
it's very peaceful.
process.
Mhm.
Mm,
The I mean I did quite a bit of research on it with my last book because I wrote a chapter on it. The last chapter is called The Last
yeah.
Goodbye,
Which I
and I
still
think
haven't read. I can't,
which
it's
you
just,
still haven't read.
no.
It's it's hard, but I think if people are frightened of saying goodbye to the dog, it's a good thing to read.
Hmm.
So they generally get two injections, and the first injection puts the dog into a sleep state.
Yeah,
That's not the anaesthetic that's going to end their life. It's the anaesthetic that's going to put them to sleep as if they're having an operation. And
yeah,
I think if you're frightened of being with your dog when it dies, then if you can be with them for the first injection when they go to sleep
yes,
and then leave the room, then the dog doesn't know any different. You're with it, you're cuddling it to sleep.
yeah,
I think holding the dog when it takes its last breath, it's something that I've done with all the dogs apart from Angus,
yes,
because I wasn't there.
no,
And I
that's
think I it's something I wouldn't not do, but I understand people not doing it because it's really hard. You don't know what's going on behind somebody's eyes. You don't know what trauma they've had in their life. You don't know what they've seen, what they've been through. So I don't think they should be judged if they don't want to take the dog into the vet themselves because the vets will look after them, the vet nurses will look after them.
yeah,
And I know speaking to vets, a lot of them will give the dogs like something yummy if the
yeah,
owner's on there. But
yeah,
I don't think anybody should be judged if they don't want to go in with the dog because nobody knows. And I get really cross to social media. I've seen it a few times where people say you aren't a good dog owner if you don't go in with your dog, and I think that's really cruel. I
yeah.
think it's a personal decision,
It
but
is a
easier
person.
if you know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I used to when I used to have my dogs put to sleep at home, because it's just what I thought was the right thing to do at that time, and I haven't done that subsequently. I'm not, but I'd sit with the dog until they've gone, and then when the vets, and they obviously had to carry the body out of the house, don't they?
Yes.
So I'd go upstairs. I'd just be like, no, I can't. Done that. Crying your heart out, aren't you? And then I'd leave it, and they'd go. Then I couldn't watch that.
So when we had put down at home,
Yeah.
we put him in the car. We picked him up. Yeah, he was on my lap. I cuddled him. And anybody who's thinking about it, make sure your car's got some polystyrene down, because the body, everybody's body will release after death, and it's just part of nature, Didn't take that into account, and we then had a real problem with the car afterwards. It was something that I had to deal with for another year after we lost Sport, because we didn't put down enough protection in the car. So that's something to think about. And most of the time, I'll say most of the time, it's just a massive release and a massive letting go. But as the body shuts down mechanically, so from a mechanical perspective, the body has to go through a process of shutting down even after your dog's gone.
Yeah.
Whether you call it the dog's energy or the dog's soul, or when the light leaves its eyes, then the body then has some processes it needs to do. And if people are aware of it, then it's not quite as scary. But it can be scary, because some dogs, the mechanism of shutting down the physical body is difficult to be with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think also being prepared, because when you're holding the dog, when they're having the injection, obviously there's a change. You go from, well, a living being to a dead body, don't you? And the physical change, like if you're holding the dog's head,
it sinks into you.
Yeah, there's a physical. I mean, I was sitting on the floor holding one of my dog's head in the vet clinic, stroking him, whatever. And then when that moment happened, then of course the head just go. You know what I mean? And that's something you need to be quite. I don't know whether I was prepared for that, but just that change.
It is they call it a dead weight, and that's the only way to describe it, isn't it?
That's
The
it.
body,
That is what it is. Yeah.
everything completely. So when we're alive, we have like with postural muscles. So our body never fully relaxes ever until that moment of death, and then everything just sinks
Yeah.
and collapses into whatever it's on. And I can remember, like with Ziggy especially, and with Spud, because Spud was on the table and I had my arms under him.
Yeah.
And you feel it, and you just feel them completely sink onto you or into you or under the table. And if your arms underneath them, you will feel that complete relaxation, and the body just kind of molds itself around you with weight, doesn't it? There's no tension or anything there. But I think the big thing is that their eyes stay open, and that is the big thing. You literally do see the light leave their eyes. You literally see it leave their eyes.
And the vets normally close them, don't they?
If the vet's in the room with you, the vet wasn't in the room with us. I closed my dog's eyes. Yeah, and you do, and you see the light. You see the spark leave them, and I think that's the hardest thing, really.
Yeah.
To deal with the weight, yes, but I think the fact that a lot of people think the dogs will close their eyes and they don't.
No.
They stay open.
Yeah. No.
But knowing about it is easier, because then you know what you're going into, don't you? And you can prepare yourself for it. But I think it's a really peaceful thing. I think it's the last gift you can give your dog.
Yeah.
It's the last thing.
You kind of Yeah, I always think you owe them. Do you know what I mean? They've had 10, 12 years friendship and whatever.
Mhm.
Kind of owe them, don't you?
I think so. I think so. And if you know the time's coming up, then you can prepare for it. So you can have your dogs cremated individually. You don't have to leave them to the vets to cremate, or you can take them home and bury them.
Yeah.
Um, what do you do? You don't, do you?
I don't, um, I've never needed or wanted boxes of ashes to bring home. And I know a lot
Mhm.
of people do that, gives people comfort. You see posts on Facebook saying, he's home kind of thing. Um, that's not for me at all. So, and I'm quite happy. I don't need a individual cremation or anything. For me, once the dog's dead, I've got the memories, I've got the videos, I've got the pictures. I don't, that's, it's not my dog anymore, is it? It's gone.
Yeah.
So that, I
I
guess
do.
you do.
Yeah, I cremate. So I've got um you can get dog shaped like resin urns.
Yeah.
So Bart was buried down at Bewley. He was the first dog. He was buried down at Bewley where one of our drives that I used to pick up on. He's actually buried in the pheasant pen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's got a little wooden cross and it just says Bart, thank you. That's all it's got on it. And he has like bluebells and daffs and stuff. So
Oh,
he's
wow.
down there, feeding the New Forest, if you like, which is nice. And then my other dogs are in the garden in resonance in the shape of the breed that they were.
What,
And
like on display in the garden?
that under the rose bush.
Yeah. Yeah, a
So
lot of
that
people do that.
yeah, and it's quite nice. And I've got a little thing on my desk, and that's got a teaspoon of all the ashes in it.
I was going to say you can get some nice jewellery and stuff now, can't you?
I don't know if I would go that. I don't know if I could do that.
Wouldn't
And
you
you
like,
can, you can get some beautiful jewelry.
yeah, get like necklaces or whatever, can't you?
You,
Bracelets
you can
with.
get anything, yeah.
Mm,
I've just got my little paw print that's like a pure heart, and that's got a teaspoon of all of my dog's ashes in it. And then when I go, all the ashes will go together. They'll all, that'll be it.
yeah.
All
Now
in.
I've got a few bits of hair and like when they shave the leg and stuff. I've got a bit of hair from Vico, stuff like that. Um, I had Bill's little collar, kept that and stuff. The those bead ones,
Yeah,
those whatever they're called.
bug off.
Bug off collar, yeah. So she had a little pink one of those, and she'd had a little bow on it from the groomer.
Uh-huh.
So I've got that still. But it's all personal, isn't it? It's what people.
It's really personal,
Mm.
and I for a long time I wouldn't use because I use slip leads,
Yeah,
and for a long time I wouldn't reuse any of the leads on the next dogs. I just
no,
wouldn't do it, and now I mean Dante wears Ziggy's lead and Emrys wears Angus's lead, and you,
yeah,
you know I think Emrys wears Ziggy's collar. I think but years ago I wouldn't have, after I lost Angus and Zig, I wouldn't reuse their leads for a long, long time.
no,
Whereas now I just think it's fine. It's fine.
no. I think that's fine for me. Like I said, I used to always have the dogs put to sleep at home.
Uh-huh.
But I don't find that important now. It was really important to me to do that. And I was always worried that, oh God, what if I can't? What if it's the weekend and I can't get a vet to come around? But I'm not, that's not a thing for me now.
No, I always did that, but Ziggy, we couldn't get somebody out, so we put him to sleep with the vets, and that was absolutely fine. I just put a blanket down, sat on the floor with him.
Yeah.
Spud was an emergency, Spud was an
Yeah.
emergency. And he was on the table, and they dropped him up. He was in a blanket, so we just cuddled him while he was on the table. We didn't get him down or anything. Um, we didn't even fully wake him up. He wasn't. He was awake enough to know we
Yeah.
were there. Um, No, I don't. I don't think what we did do and what I didn't do for Spud is I let the other dogs sniff them.
Yeah, I've never done that. No, I've never done that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never, I know you and lots of people say that their dogs, go through this sort of mourning and bereavement and stuff. I've never had
Mhm.
that, like, fortunately, because that would be blooming heartbreaking, wouldn't it? But I've not, seeing your other dogs distressed or looking for the other one. I've not, thankfully, not had that.
Think I think the look for them in different ways. So with Zig, we let Dante and Spud jump in the back of the car with them because we took Ziggy off to the crematorium myself,
Yeah.
whereas Spud, the vet, arranged it for us. Um, they jumped in the back of the car with them. They had a sniff, jumped out, and that was it, done. And whereas with Spud, the dogs didn't.
No.
And as I say, I must used to look for them.
Yeah. I've had it
Oh,
occasionally. I did once. The German Shepherds I had. When I was out for the first few days, because they used to play with each other in the park,
uh-huh.
played like when we first went into the park, run and sort of play and whatever. And he'd be looking for him in that
Mhm.
situation for a
Yeah.
while. He'd sort of look back and all
Yeah.
ready to charge at him. And of course, he wasn't there to charge at.
Mhm.
But no, they never seemed to be affected, not off their food or not.
No, no.
I've always had more than two, you see, so I've not had a dog left on its own.
Yes.
That might be a different story.
Yes. I think it affected Ziggy more than the Lost Angus
Yeah.
because Ziggy was left on his own.
Mm.
And I wouldn't want to go down to one dog again for that reason. But I think it depends on the relationship the dogs have got with each other. So um, Emrys used to play with Spud in the puddles,
In the what? Oh,
in the
puddles, yeah.
puddles.
Oh, you
And
said, yeah.
so he would look for Spud when he was playing in the puddles. Dante, when we lost Spud, came into his own.
Did it,
He
yeah.
blossomed, absolutely blossomed, because Spud was a really dominant dog. And
Yeah,
he
had
used
been
to
a bit
play.
suppressed and yeah.
So he was really suppressed. So when we lost Spud, Dante came into his own. He blossomed. He turned into this amazing dog. When we lost Bart, Angus blossomed. Do you remember? Angus came
Yeah.
into his own.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I think it has a huge impact on the pack. And sometimes it can cause dogs not to be quite themselves, but sometimes the dogs that are left behind can really, really blossom and
Yeah.
become emotionally independent.
Yeah. If you have like a bit sort of a strong dog in the house that's not,
Mm.
that's dominant or whatever you want to call it.
Well, they are
Yeah.
dominant, aren't they? So,
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I've had some very sort of strong dominant dogs, and yes, probably it's been quite a relief, when
yeah,
they've gone for the other, a little bit less suppressed, more, not going to get told off for doing anything, are you now?
yeah, absolutely. And that's what happened with Spud, and it happened with when we lost Spud, Dante came into his own, and when we lost Bart, Angus came into his own.
Yeah. Like I said, I've not really seen an awful lot of difference in my dogs. I suppose
Uh-huh.
it's harder when you go to the vet, 'cause then you come home without the dog, don't you? But
Yeah,
as we spoke about before, it's important that our dogs are individual dogs, isn't it? And are used to being at home on their own and are used to
emotionally
not constantly,
independent.
yeah, not constantly being in the presence of the other dogs all of the time and,
Mhm.
all the rest of it. So actually it does make that smoother transition. I don't know, some people where the dogs are literally, they cannot cope being away from each other. I don't know how. I mean, like we all do. I think the dogs deal with it, don't they, and get over it. But there's a process of stress and,
Yeah,
bereavement.
I mean, is it grief or is it adjustment? Is it adjustment of
I
habits
don't
and,
know what it
and
is.
adjustment of behavior?
I don't know what it is. I don't know. Yeah, both.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, confusion and, anxiety and all sorts, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Change of structure, change of habit, change of energy. And
And also,
you'll not eradicate the smell of the other dog, not for years and years and years and years and years. It
no.
doesn't matter. The smell will still be in the house for your existing dog.
And it's your emotional energy as well, isn't it? You know what I mean? There's a change in us for that period of time, however long that lasts. I don't know how long that
Definitely.
lasts. I guess that's different for everybody as well, isn't it? How long it takes to
Yeah.
deal with it and feel better about things.
But the main thing is to allow yourself to grieve.
Don't have
Don't,
a blinking choice, do you?
well, yeah, allow yourself to grieve. Don't brush it under the
Yeah.
carpet and all that lot, and just take time and let yourself adjust. And rescue remedy is very good to help you through grief.
Yeah. Or any other drugs.
It's not a drug, it's a herb. It's a flower. It's a
Yeah.
flower. Yeah, I mean, just you just take it steady, take one day at a time, and we adapt. We adapt.
Yeah, we do. It's just a shadow on you, isn't it, for a while. You know what I mean? It's just, and when you have those, I remember I had when I had Utz put to sleep, I'd been away for it's kind of irrelevant really, but I'd been away for the weekend with him. And
Mhm.
it was touch and go whether I was going to go, whether I wasn't, and he was doing well. So I was like, yeah, I'll come. And had him put to sleep on the way home between, Stoneleigh and London, because my vet's is kind of halfway-ish. Um, and the next day I had a client booked in.
Mhm.
And I thought, yeah, go, get up, get dressed, brush your teeth, you know what I mean? Go out, get to work. So I went there and did that. And then just that, you sort of leave the house and then all of a sudden it hits you like a brick again.
Mhm.
Oh my God, he's not at home.
Mhm.
And you have kind of periods like that, don't you? Those moments
Yeah,
where
you
it's all
do.
right. And then boom.
And you learn to put it to one side, don't you? When we lost Angus, we were on the way to my nephew's wedding and we were stuck on the A303.
I remember it very well.
That was hard. And
Mm.
it was on Kenny's birthday. He died on Kenny's birthday.
Oh God.
And we had the wedding, so, and I'd had major abdominal surgery as well.
Mm.
And so it's just a case of put everything to one side and processed it on the way home. You just,
I remember seeing.
I just need to shut this down for a couple of days.
I,
Huge family wedding.
I remember, obviously I spoke to you that evening anyway, but I remember seeing the photos of the wedding and like, you know what I mean? Like you at the wedding, and I just thought at the time, I thought, I wonder how that works. But like you said, you get on with it, don't you? But I just thought, oof, yuck, not sure I'd have gone to the wedding. I don't know.
We were Roger there.
Well, I know, could have driven home. Couldn't, I did, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's good that you did because like you've got to get on where you like, you've got to carry on, haven't you? But
Well, it was 8 hour drive and he died.
mm,
I would have been going home to a dead dog. I wouldn't have been going home to say goodbye to him. I would have been going
uh,
home to
so yeah.
nothing. Do you know
Mm.
what I mean?
Yeah,
It
sometimes you
was a really difficult decision. It was a really difficult decision, and but we did it, and there was nothing I could do anyway. I was like 10 days out of major surgery.
mm. No, it's horrible. It's horrible.
Difficult.
It is horrible. I find, yeah, even when you've got more than one dog, I think that when the house is very empty, isn't it?
Mm.
Like just, even when I lost my little Pomeranian, I've got three blinking great Rottweilers in the house, little Bill, but it just felt really weird and really empty.
Yeah.
Just, yeah, just a strange thing. And the hardest thing I think for me was when I lost Dux, because he used to sleep in my bedroom, didn't he?
Yes.
And the heart, I just thought I can't go to bed. I can't wake up in the night and him not be
Not
there in
here.
his bed.
Yeah.
Horrible. So I spent one night on the sofa. One night I slept on the sofa, and then the next night I thought, right,
Mm.
go. get to bed.
The thing with me is when you get the biscuits out the biscuit barrel for the dogs.
Oh,
You don't do that, do you?
I don't. So no.
Whereas I do, and so it's like I take a couple of shapes, and just like my dogs have always had a borneo for bed,
Yeah, you got too
getting
many
two
both.
borneos out instead of three borneos out, and that's the one that gets to me. And every now and again, I'll put my hand in and grab some shapes, and there's like three shapes there instead of two. And I think,
No. Well, it was horrible because I went from four dogs down to two in not a huge space of time. And the
mm,
thing for me was getting the dog bowls out for dinner. I'd always get too many dog bowls.
getting the
And
balls
I
out,
just, put one away or whatever. That was horrible. That was horrible. Just,
grabbing
yeah.
your leads.
Yeah, two dog
I had to
bowls.
rearrange all my leads because I always had like three leads hanging out together, three
Yeah.
collars together. And
No, no,
once
and
you're removing one of everything.
I always changed like I I always, for some reason, I don't know, I always go mad with cleaning when the dogs go mad with hoovering and stuff. I don't
Mhm.
know why. Come in, hoover, and then change stuff around. Like I've got doors between like the dining room and the family room, and they're normally
Uh-huh.
cleased. But I wanted those open. Do you know,
Mhm.
just so it's different. You know what I mean? It's just I don't know what that is, but it's just I want to, clean and different,
Change the
moving.
environment slightly.
Yeah, I came in when I had Utz put to sleep because I wasn't really I wasn't expecting to come home without him.
Uh-huh.
So I came in like a blinking whirlwind, got rid, picked up his bed quickly, could put that outside in the office, got rid of that, hoovered, opened the doors, just yeah, don't know what. Well, just I don't know really what that is, but you don't want dog beds laying about, do you? But
Not
I
really.
don't. No, I don't.
No, I don't. I rearrange things.
Mm.
Not much. I don't rearrange things much. Do your dogs have their own beds? Did you like, as you said, you got rid of Utz's bed? Did they have their own beds?
No, but I didn't. Well, no, not really. No, they share. No, they get on whatever one.
Mhm.
But the one that he used to be on primarily like that went, and also I had
Mhm.
one in my bedroom that went, get that all out.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, strange, isn't it? Because you don't, yeah. I mean, luckily, because they wouldn't want dog hair on the floor, but luckily you've got other dogs, so you don't know whose hair's what, do you? Do you know what I mean? So it's,
Yeah.
could have had his hair on the floor, but I wouldn't have known whether it was his or the others. So
Yeah, that was difficult with Angus.
yeah, because he's different. Yeah,
Blonde.
yeah.
Yeah. And even um like we use his we're using everything. So Dante has his Equifleece.
Oh, and does
Took
that have?
years to get rid of the white hair off it.
Yeah, I bet it did. Yeah.
Years. Yeah.
Mm,
And that's at first it's really sad, but then it becomes quite bittersweet. And then you think, oh, okay, that used to be Angus's because you can still see it's
yeah.
like embedded in the Velcro.
Well, it
Yeah,
does though, doesn't it? It becomes probably quite comfort. Like you said, things change, don't they? Like the initial horrible, horrible
heartbreak.
emotions fade, and then it changes.
Yeah, I think you end up with like that particular dog shape hole in your soul, if you like. And
Yeah,
it's black and it's hard and it's horrible and but then over time it fills up with like really nice memories.
yeah,
And so it makes you smile instead of cry, I
yeah.
think.
It does. It does. And I don't know. I mean, like I said, my student the other day asked how long that takes, and I said I don't know how long it takes. I don't know, but it takes as long as it takes, doesn't it?
Takes as long as it takes, and different dogs will take different amount of times.
Mm. Yeah, they will. Yeah, for sure. Some are harder than others, aren't they? For sure.
Yeah, depends on your relationship with them, and then something will crop up and it'll bring back like a short memory and a bit of pain.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. It does. Like,
Mm.
yeah, there are moments, aren't there? Initially, I think when I don't know, you sort of think of a memory or whatever, it's horrible, isn't it? That time you did such and such, and it's horrible. You're like, oh, so, sharp intake of breath, and then that. in time. It's not horrible.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yes.
Yes. Why we own dogs?
We keep saying, why do we have dogs? Why do we
Mm.
have dogs?
Yeah, I know. Well, hope largely, you know, it's good if
Largely because they're lovely
yeah, it's
and we
just they
love
just
them.
don't live long enough, do they?
Not really. What
No.
makes them so special, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then we go put ourselves through it all again, don't we?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Not
I
yet, not for me. Not yet.
not
Not
getting
another dog yet.
no, no. The worrying thing as well, it's like ages, isn't it? Because I've got two young dogs. I've got a 3-year-old and well, probably how old is Emerus? 3.
I'm 3.5.
So I've got 3.5-year-old and a 1.5-year-old dog. There's not a lot of age to it.
And how
So
old's the oldest? How old's Ida?
9.
Okay.
So yeah, I've got age-wise, something to
They're a
consider.
bit close, aren't they?
Dogs. They are a bit close. But then you're never guaranteed, you're not
Well,
guaranteed 10 or 12 years, are you?
I lost Siggy 6.5.
Yeah, you're not guaranteed. I mean, I thought I was going to lose Okan at 14 months.
Yeah.
So thank God I didn't.
You just enjoy what you've got while you've got it.
Yeah, I'm trying not to keep worrying about it, Ross.
And yeah, I know I'm worried at the minute because of Emrys, but that's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Well, you do. To me, they're your family, aren't they? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you
You can't help it. Worry about them, care about them. We just have to do the best we can, don't we? Looking after
Mhm,
them.
mhm. As we do for the rest of the family.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
No,
you can't live your life worrying about your dog dying. You just
no,
you can't.
no, you can't. It's not all the time.
Just 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, no, you do. Well, I think you do as they get older. You do, don't you? Because like I said, the often the decline is quite rapid once it starts, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think then that's when the difficult process starts when you start seeing changes in their movement or energy levels
They
or
get old dog eyes, don't they?
get old dog eyes, get grey bits on the face, whatever. Sometimes their head changes shape. You get all
Dante's head change shape. He's got a
yeah,
grey face and he's starting to get grey paws.
yeah. Ida's got little grey bits under her feet, little white paws, and yeah, different shaped head.
Mm.
But it's the aging process, and it's part of it. But
We go through it too. Our
mm,
teeth start moving, our jaws shrink, our teeth move.
yeah, yeah, it's joyful.
Say that again.
I said it's joyful.
It is joyful. But there's nothing nicer than seeing an old person walking down the street with an old dog. It's
No, I
really
know.
heartwarming.
No, I do. No, I find, to be honest, I quite often see people walking at whatever age, and I feel quite, yeah, sort of quite warm. Do you know what I mean? You get a rush of, when you see people that are just, I saw a bloke walking yesterday, a German Shepherd, and he just talked to it and touched it on the head, and I thought, the dog was wagged his tail and was looking at him, and he just go, I thought, what a lovely little, do you know what I mean? It's just a nice relationship to look at, isn't it? But there's something really special about old dogs as well, isn't there?
Oh yeah,
Amazing.
definitely.
Yeah, amazing.
Mm. And on that note, shall we go and stroke our old dogs?
Let's go and stroke all of our dogs and yeah, love them.
Yeah. Cool. So until next time,
Yes. Look after your dogs and
after your
yourselves.
dogs, enjoy them.
See you soon.
Thanks for listening. It's not just gun dogs and not just guard dogs, but all things canine, as we hope you have discovered. Please like, share and subscribe and help us spread a bit of common sense back into dog ownership. And a review wouldn't go amiss either. catch up with Lez and Ross again in about 14 days for more canine conversations. Until next time, stay well and enjoy your dogs. Any dog-related questions or topics, just drop an email to talk@cfba.uk or message us via facebook.com/Gundogs and Guard Dogs podcast.